Here we go, College Football Payoff Podcast, Week 2.
Episode 59.
Wow, 59 episodes.
Come a long way.
I'm Dan, that's Fuji Bets. Uh, Officially Week 2. Last week, uh, almost par for the course, but for the most part, we did have some surprises, some upsets. I think I went, what did I go, 1-2, I believe, and that was just based on a few kind of tough breaks, a few bad beats, if you will. Um, yep, crack it open. That a boy.
Yeah, I had to
That's what
crack
we
one real
need
quick.
today. Real quick, let me get on my sheet here. Yeah, Utah, that was an easy win for me. Utah -4.5. They looked dominant. Florida did not look
Yeah,
good.
good pick there.
Louisville -7.5. That was a tough one. Uh,
Man, I thought you didn't have it, then I thought you had it, then you ended up not having it.
yep, that's how I felt too. The NC State game, that was just, I think that was dead in the water. Once I saw UConn starting to be able to move the ball and kind of stopping NC State, then I got worried on that one. So hey, win some, you lose some. But I mean, week one, not knowing what to expect. But the big one that kind of broke my back was my money line pick of Nebraska. I thought Matt Rule coming in, getting rid of the Scott Frost, but maybe it's just the University of Nebraska is cursed.
We'll find out this weekend.
Yeah, you're darn right we will because they're actually one of my picks. They're not one of my picks, but they're one of the games that I'm talking about.
So they're
So
probably a fade.
yeah, 100%. All right, so yeah, I went 1-2 last week. Missed the money line as well. What about you? What was your recap?
Man, last week, 2 in 1 week. Pretty good. I'll take it. Got Miami at -16.5. Never really had a doubt there. Was one of my winners. Had Tennessee -27.5. Also a pretty easy winner for me. My one loss came with Illinois -9 against Toledo, and I guess what I took away from that game is either Illinois is hiding scheme wise for what they want to do this week against their opponent, or they're just really not the same level they were on defense last year. They didn't even come close to covering. I think they had to wait till the end of the game to score the game winning touchdown to actually win. Um, but 2 in 1 week, we'll take it. Anything else from last week that stuck out to you outside of Colorado?
Literally, it was just I love Colorado. I mean, and it's like Dion's gonna have himself. And again, I'm gonna talk about this game coming up this week, but Dion is it's almost like me against everyone else. Like he won that game and then started to rip on the post game presser, just started ripping on people. Other than that, I mean, Clemson, we can say that Dabo's a fraud.
Maybe his dynasty's over.
Yeah. Although that quarterback from Duke is, he's nice. Dude. I
Yeah, I
like
mean
him a
that
lot.
sucks too because I'm sitting on one of my, I mean not my
Yeah.
biggest, but one of my bigger preseason bets was Clemson over 9.5 wins. So we still got hope, but we got to be next to flawless for the rest of the season. One other thing I wanted to touch on, actually two other things. First off, I have Travis Hunter 400 to 1 for Heisman. After that performance last year, he's down in the range of 22 to 28 to 1.
Hmm.
That's called value. I mean, that's just, I'm feeling really good. Win or lose, a few months from now when they announce Heisman, I got the right value out of that bet. One more thing, my biggest preseason bet, Michael Penix Jr. over.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. We're doing a fantasy draft right now. But Michael Penix Jr. over 3,750.5 yards. Ended up, I think we're in a really good spot right there for that. I'm really happy with that bet because he threw for 450 yards last Saturday, and Washington looks to me like the best team in the Pac-12 right now. I think they'd beat USC if they play tomorrow. Anything else from last week? I really enjoyed watching the Colorado game. Notre Dame impressed me again. That offense. Um, I actually have some Notre Dame -7 for this week. Not going to be official pod play, but I got it before it moved to 7.5. What else stuck out? Anything stick out to you specifically from last week? I thought it was a great week of football.
Yeah, it was a fantastic week of football. Nothing really stuck out to me. Just taking it all in, was able to watch football all day. ended with last night watching Clemson. So I'm ready to get back into it, ready to get going here with week two. I'm pretty sure all my games are Saturday games. Do you have anything for Friday, Thursday?
Wait, I just have some gripes about the weekend. Let's review real quick before we move on to
Let's go.
this new week.
All right.
I got 4 points of CLV for that Hawaii Stanford game. That did not matter. And also I think James Franklin is my biggest enemy now. Trying to score there at the end of the game. I don't know what kind of shit that was. But I lost my West Virginia bet. That I didn't take that on here, but that was tough. Um, Ohio State did not look good.
Mm-mm. No, not at
Um,
all.
and then you know who also didn't look good was Texas. But on top of that, I think they were holding a lot back for Alabama this week. So yeah, Wisconsin came out a little flat. Wasn't huge fans of how they played. North Carolina, maybe their defense is okay. Maybe it's not, but beating an SEC team to start the season was good. And then lastly, I had a lot higher hopes for Iowa's offense this year, but we'll see going forward what that looks like because man, I right when they came out hot, I thought they were going to score a bunch, but it turns out they were they scored most of their points in the first 8 minutes of the game. So moving forward, probably down on Iowa's offense, but defense, man, I still really like it over there.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to bring up Ohio State 'cause I really didn't want to talk about them, but I'm nervous. They don't know what they're doing at quarterback. Both quarterbacks look shaky. I will say that their three running backs look pretty damn good, even though Travion didn't run too much. But it's almost like they split the field into thirds, used Mayan Williams a lot goal line, which is tough to stop, or like short yardage, red zone, stuff like that. Um, Ryan Day doesn't know what he's doing. It's going to be tough for them to score points. It's really bad look, too, for Marvin Harrison Jr. If you had any, yardage or touchdowns or even a Heisman ballot on him, that could be tough. But I can see them losing more than 2 or 3 games this year. So just err on the side of caution on that. Defense looked phenomenal, but again, it's about the offense, and it's scary that once that quarterback leaves, that system quarterback almost, where you need someone running, which next year we're going to have Air Nolan come into the mix. And it's almost like this is kind of a throwaway year for Ohio State. So I'm going to tread lightly with them. I'm not really going to play too much with their lines or overs or anything like that. So that's where I'm at. That's the status of Buckeye Nation right now. It's kind of grim, bleak. But all right. Anything else you want to hit before we get into the picks?
Man, I think I am good.
All right. All right. Do you have anything before Saturday? Any Thursday, Friday games?
No, nothing really stuck out to me this week. I bet, maybe for NFL, I bet Detroit +7 like 2 months ago. So that's nice, especially with Travis Kelce getting hurt this year or this week. I think that line's down to 5.5 or 6.5 now. So got a little bit of value on the NFL, but for Thursday and Friday, man, I've got nothing that I want to bet.
Yeah, looking at Thursday, Friday, it's, the only game really that would be there is Illinois, Kansas, but I'm going to stay away from all that stuff. All right. Well, you know what? You went 2-1 last week.
Yeah,
All
two and
right.
one. You want me
You
to
want
start
to,
it off?
why don't you go ahead and start us off then?
All right, man. First bet of the week. I'm going to a team that had a disappointing start last week. Um, Showed up a little shaky, but ended up figuring things out when they put in their quarterback that is going to start for them the rest of the season. And for me, that would be the UCLA Bruins. True freshman Dante Moore pretty much he was in a pretty heavy recruiting battle um, a few other with a few other Pac-12 teams. Ended up picking UCLA because at the end of the day, he could start on day one there. Turns out he didn't start day one, and they started Nick Garbers at quarterback for the first a little over half. After he failed to really do anything, they decided to go with Dante Moore, and once Dante Moore and UCLA was fixed and back to normal. Um, so this week, there it's more about also the team they're playing. For me, that's San Diego State. We saw San Diego State come out in week 0 against Ohio and play tough against the Curtis Rourke quarterback team. But to be honest, after Curtis Rourke went down, San Diego State having to replace all 7 people on their front 7 on their defense was not able to pull away in that game whatsoever. So then we go to last week where they play Idaho State. Honestly, one of the worst teams in the FCS. I think they've had like less than 2 wins a year for the last 2 or 3 seasons. And then they just straight up played with their food the whole time. Ended up only winning by 7 or 8 points. I'm really down on this 2-0 San Diego State team, and with limited film on this new freshman quarterback, who's the freshman 5-star quarterback, and limited returning production for those teams, I really think that UCLA has a really good chance to cover the spread. And I'm not talking about just a point or two. I'm thinking they could probably go win this game by 3 or more touchdowns. That's why I really like UCLA minus 13.5 this weekend. I got it at 13.5 2 days ago. I'm trying to see. Do we have any 13.5s available still? I cannot see, but I see a 14. So we'll take UCLA minus 14. What do we think about that?
No, I'm good with that. Yeah, I really don't have anything to add on this game. Um, UCLA, I really wasn't able to watch much of their game, so not really. I'm going to take your word for this one, right? I feel like you're pretty well with the Pac-12. Um, but yeah, that's a solid pick. All right, let me jump right into my marquee pick. The big, probably one of the bigger games that I see on the schedule. It's not Alabama, Texas. It's Colorado, Nebraska. And just because of how Colorado took care of business last week and how Nebraska is still the choke artist that they were portrayed as last year, I'm going to take Colorado in this. Now, see, this line opened up, and it opened up last Wednesday. So before their game, their week 1 game last Wednesday, this line opened up at Colorado plus 7.5 or plus 8.5. After that game, after both teams' games, now it's down to -3 for Colorado, and I'm still going to take it. Uh, Colorado, I mean, after a huge upset like that where they scored almost at will, Shadir Sanders had, what, 510 yards?
510 yards.
Jeez.
I think the running back and 2 of the wide receivers had over 100 yards receiving. Obviously, Travis Hunter, he could have had 2 touchdown catches too. He did have one that was called back for a penalty. Also, he's like the most awesome guy to watch play right now in all of college football.
Oh, he's Chris Gamble. Chris Gamble from Ohio State, where he went 2 ways, right?
Nobody remembers that guy.
I wish you could. I guarantee you somebody knows who I'm talking about, but he was Chris Gamble. He was a 2-way player, and it was kind of, playing at Jackson State, you go, okay, you can get away with it there, but how is he going to fare when he comes to the big time games? And man, did he look fantastic.
Yes, he did.
Give me 1 second, let me pull this up. Okay. Nebraska quarterback. I mean, we want to talk about Jeff Sims. He passed for 114, 1 touchdown. He threw 3 picks, and I mean the picks were bad. Towards the end of the game there, and it sucks because Nebraska. You thought Matt Rule was going to come in, he was going to dominate. New regime, all this stuff. They were doing well, and it's almost like they had the one fumble at the 50, and once that happened, you're like, oh, man, here we go. And even when Minnesota tried to give the momentum back to Nebraska, Nebraska was like, no, you guys take it.
Yeah, just take. Well, I mean, I watched Jeff Sims play since he was a freshman at Georgia Tech. I really liked him back then. So I thought I had really high hopes for him going forward this year, especially with Matt Rule as his head coach. The only problem is, man, that red zone interception right before the half there, man, that was killer. That
Hmm.
was killer for the whole team. And then still, I thought Nebraska was going to win that game till about 5 minutes left.
Well, yeah.
That whole game, I thought they were supposed to win, but Nebraska again, Nebraska.
Yep, exactly. And you know what, Colorado, yeah, you went up against TCU, who, when you think of defenses, you don't necessarily think of TCU. Colorado's going to have a tougher task this week against Nebraska's defense, a Big Ten defense. Um, but I really don't think. I think Dion's going to have some kind of a game plan going to where it's just rock and fire. They're going to fire on all cylinders. But I think Colorado's offense is going to be too much for Nebraska's entire game plan, defense and offense combined. Uh, maybe something where Nebraska goes up at half and Dion makes some kind of adjustment, comes out. I see them winning by at least a touchdown here. So give me Colorado -3 against Nebraska. That's probably my surefire. Like, I'm pumped about that lock. You got
Gross.
anything?
Yeah, man, I want to take Colorado. The look ahead line for this for like game of the year stuff posted last year was early posted earlier this year. I think Nebraska was a 6.5 point favorite over Colorado. So to have that 8 point swing after 1 week of the season, that's value better. I guess you're not supposed to bet on Colorado in this situation. You could have got them 8 points better, but
And
man, I
listen though,
believe
the
in this team.
the 8.5, the opening line for them of the +8.5 was last Wednesday. It
Yeah,
was
yeah, that
before
was why we're recording last week's episode. Yeah,
exactly, and it was before their very first game. So it's almost like unless you were on the team, which hopefully no one on their team is gambling on their team because it's NCAA violation. Do not do that. But unless you're like a diehard Colorado Buffalo fan, you aren't going to catch that line,
not at all.
And it did. Right after that game ended is when it clicked. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, I would love to have plus points for Colorado, but I'm confident with anything under seven for them, like
Yeah,
under 7 point spread.
I mean, I like it. I got Colorado at -2.5. Get
Yeah.
a -115 juice at FanDuel like 2 days ago.
And I think right now
So
that they might be
I'm with
minus
you.
they might be -2.5, but it's like minus one twenty
Now
three, I think.
I think you got a -122 out. Yeah, just
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
said. So yeah, man, I'm with you though. I want to see Colorado win, and the better Colorado does, the better chance I have for this 400 to 1 Travis Hunter Heisman ticket.
It's true.
I think that'll boost me into gambling world legitimacy if I hit that. But we'll see. What is my next lock? Oh, perfect. My next lock. It's a huge spread. But this little SEC versus MAC action in week 2 of the year. Like my bet last year or last week of ACC versus MAC when it came to Miami, Florida versus Miami, Ohio. This week it's going to be Arkansas over Kent State. For me and for many other people that I listen to, Kent State is either the worst team or tied for the worst team in this country. They lost their head coach to Colorado. He's the new offense coordinator there, and they didn't return one starter on offense from last year. So it showed last week in their game against UCF where they dropped. I think it was 56-6. So they lost by 50 points, and this week they're going up after getting beat up by UCF last week. They have to go against an SEC team this week, and with an experienced quarterback in KJ Jefferson. I liked what Arkansas did last week. I thought they moved the ball pretty well. KJ Jefferson had a pretty solid game, and on top of that, I don't think Arkansas starters are going to be in much for this game, but I could see potentially that they're up, by 5, 6 touchdowns maybe at halftime. So maybe if you want to look at Arkansas first half just to bet on those the starters, you can look that way. But I'm going full game here, so I can still find an Arkansas -38. That is where I'm going to go. Just pure SEC versus MAC play. Worked for us. Fading the MAC worked for us last week against a good Power 5 roster. We're going to do the same thing this week.
Yeah, and wait, so who did Kent State play last week too?
UCF.
Yeah. And that's why, I look at this and it's an SEC against MAC pick. Kent State looked shell shocked last week. I think UCF UCF throttled them and shell shocked them a bit. I didn't see it really going that poorly, but man, when you get beat that bad and then you have to turn around and play an SEC school, it almost seems impossible to be able to come back from that. Uh,
It's just so demoralizing too.
yeah,
Like
it
they
really
came out
is.
last year, got their last week, got beat by 50 points, and to start your season off like that, it's going to be a long one for those boys. So
And I
let's
know that
let's
they're
take
not
advantage of
looking.
it now.
I know they're not looking at the spread, but when the spread's already 35.5 points and you end up losing by close to 20 points extra, man, that's a fucking tough look, man. All right, so you're good on that. Let's see, what do I want to go with next here? All right, Purdue, Virginia Tech, uh, Big Ten ACC look here. Purdue's coming off a pretty bad loss. Was that at home against Fresno State, 39-35. Hudson Card was the transfer quarterback who came in. Looked pretty well. I mean, you scored 35 points as a transfer. That's all right. But their defense was abysmal. They gave up 39. Now they have to go on the road to Virginia Tech. Kind of a hostile environment there, where Virginia Tech last week, yeah, they beat Old Dominion 36-17. Grant Wells, senior quarterback for the Hokies. Um, I'm taking Virginia Tech. I think it's -3 right now. Again, this is another one that opened Virginia Tech plus the points, but that was earlier before the games. We talk about Virginia Tech, Grant Wells, senior quarterback last year, 2,171 yards, 9 touchdowns, 9 picks. So, if 59% of his passes were completed, uh, he had a good day. He threw for 251 yards, 3 touchdowns. Big thing there is no turnovers in week one. Virginia Tech is going to be able to move the ball against this defense of Purdue. Purdue is not, they're nothing to write home about. Usually when you think of Purdue in the Big Ten, you think, all right, they do have somewhat of a good defense when they're at home, especially. They lay an egg out at home, and now they have to go on the road. They could have lost by a lot more to Fresno State. They gave up 487 yards, 371 yards through the air. They couldn't get off the field. Fresno State was 11 of 17 on third down conversions. It was a snowball effect for that team. Um, I don't think you can really justify taking Purdue on any aspect of their game right now. They just looked horrible at home. Usually that week one home game is something that you're gonna like really be pumped up for. You want to show out. But going up against a senior quarterback for Virginia Tech, he's at home, second week at home, he'll be able to lead a passing game that should eclipse the mark that Fresno State left last week at Purdue. I think this is no brainer. Virginia Tech, I got it -3 here. I'm sure you can find a -2.5 somewhere. But I'm comfortable with the -3 even.
Damn, somebody, my next pick, the market's moving against me. I went double bet it today, so for my third pick, I guess we can get a better number at this. I might go bet it again.
Okay, what do you got?
We're gonna go over. I guess we can get 53.5 now. So, I watched both these teams last week. I was impressed for what I saw for week one. And, fun fact, both of these teams went over this total by themselves last week.
Ooh, that's
So this
fun.
matchup is Auburn versus California. One thing I really like about Cal this year is that their new offensive coordinator is Texas State's Texas State's head coach from last year, Jake Spavital. He has always been a really good quarterbacks coach slash offensive coordinator. He's been at West Virginia. He's been at Texas A&M. He's been at a few other SEC schools. He's an offensive mastermind, and man, last week it showed. It reflected in Cal's score. They scored 58 points. On North Texas, and North Texas was still able to score. So I feel really good about Auburn being able to score on this Cal defense. I know Hugh Freeze in year one at Auburn is going to want to run it up as much as he can. And on top of that, It's quarterback BJ or Peyton Thorne, who came from Michigan State from last year. He did pretty well, but they took him out of the game quickly. Both quarterbacks, BJ Finley and Peyton Thorne, have the ability to put up points. They have enough skilled people around them, and on top of that, I think we have enough people to or enough weakness on defense for both teams to score enough for us to get to this total. I really like it. I'm probably going to go bet it again right now, but sign me up for over 53 and a half already. California.
That's at Cal.
Yes. 10:30 kickoff. So after you've bet all day, you've watched all the games, one of the last games of the night, you can chase it with a nice over.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, I enjoy that pick. Probably not something that I'm going to play. Just I'm still. I think I still got to watch another week of football here to see how these teams actually go up with the running play clock. And I don't know. I'm going to stay away from overs. And to me, it seems like it's playing against us. Again, week one, there's statistics out there that say it doesn't matter, all this stuff, but I'm not too high on it. Um, but again, that could be something where you're sitting on the couch late at night after a long day of, boozing and betting, and you want to place one last bet. Go for it. But all right, okay.
Man, let's run through some other games that we want to see.
Well, hold
Just,
on, I got one more.
Oh, shit, you got one more
I got
lock?
one more,
I thought
dude.
you've already got three. I bet.
Oh, dude, I'm going the real Miami against Texas A&M. So Miami of Florida, that is. They earned that right last week. The U, right? Right now, I have Miami at plus 4.5. That is where I'm going to play this. Man, watching that, I know. So I know it was Miami against Miami of Ohio, but I really liked what I saw from Miami. The Hurricanes, man, they looked fantastic. They ran the ball well. They were getting off the field. The quarterback looked fantastic. It almost looked like you had Miami back, like Miami's back a little bit. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I enjoyed watching them play. Um, and feel like they're running off that high a little bit. Listen, Texas A&M uh, was this last week had 461 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. I don't even know who that's. Oh, against. Wait, who did they lose to? Am I reading this? Wait, is this correct? Texas A&M dropped to 1-1, or is this?
That's last year.
Holy crap! I'm looking at the wrong. I was like, dude, what
No,
the
they
hell?
Texas A&M beat New Mexico State last week.
Thank
Pretty
God.
pretty
All
easily.
right, good, good.
Their
Texas
offense was
A&M.
humming too.
Yeah. Um, Give me 1 second here. I gotta do one quick pick. Boom.
Our
Got it.
fantasy team's looking pretty good for recording the pod right now.
I know this is gonna be pretty easy. I mean, when you can record a pod and draft a team at the same time, dude, you must know something. All right. Texas A&M, yeah, Connor Weigman completing 78.3% of his passes, 236 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions against New Mexico. I think they're going to run into a little bit of a buzzsaw defense here. Um, the Hurricanes, they showed out against Miami of Ohio. I think that could be in part due to Gabbert talking his talk and kind of greasing the wheels for him. But Tyler Van Dyke, he was 77%, 200 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Um, they had two receivers that each had a touchdown, or two receivers combined for 150 yards, touchdown. Ran the ball down their throat, 250 yards. Henry Parrish Jr., 90 yards and a touchdown. Um, Gave up 3 points, 215 yards. I feel like Miami is back. They've won 26 of their last 29 games against non-conference opponents. Um, they've won the first half and the first quarter, so if that's something you want to look at as well. But Texas A&M, yeah, they'll be favored. SEC, Miami's been kind of down lately. You can play with that what you want. But as they open the season, they probably the more talented team. Just Miami last year went into College Station, toe to toe with A&M. Um, Miami could have won that game if the offense was able to do something. I think Van Dyke is back. He's capable of having a better season. He's got another year under his belt. Running game is just clicking right now. Only 16 teams really rushed for more yards than Miami last week. Uh, they're good defensively. Yeah, you held Miami of Ohio to 2 of 12 on third down. Hard Rock Stadium, their stadium that they're playing in, should be packed. I see this game could be coming down to the wire, and if that's the case, yeah, give me Miami with the points there. So Miami plus 4.5, and possibly to win, but I'm gonna just roll with the points on this one. Now you can go over some other games that you want to talk
My
about.
bad. I like your pick though.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see some other bets that I already have this week. I took some Kansas State minus 15.5 against Troy. That lines up to 16.5, around 17 now. I expect that to move to 17.5 before kickoff. I got some James Madison -7. Somebody hit it this week, and then I rebetted it -5.5. They're playing Virginia. I think they come out and pounce on them. Virginia's had a terrible game last week, so I faded them against Tennessee, and we're going to do the same this week. So 2 straight weeks fading Virginia. Colorado, I got at -2.5, and then I got Notre Dame at -7. Oh, but also, this is really like I really am going to get some answers this week because a lot of teams that are probably similarly playing each other. So games where I'll be watching closely, definitely Kansas versus Illinois. Um, Kansas has Jaden Daniels back finally starting, so I'm excited to see how he bounces back after that injury.
That is a Friday game, by the way.
Yep, that's the Friday game. Vanderbilt Wake Forest. I think that game's going to be pretty good, and I'm not sure. I might end up with a small bet on Vandy for kickoff. It's only a 10-point spread. I'm really excited for this Notre Dame NC State game.
Yeah, I was looking at the Notre Dame NC State game as well. I kind of had that circled. I did some deep diving into it, but then ultimately I just wanted that to kind of be a play on my own, not necessarily for the pod. But I'm excited for that one. I'm excited for Utah Baylor.
Oh yeah, Utah Baylor should be good. Yeah, I mean Baylor got upset last week, but they didn't really know what they were going to come out and see with the
No,
new everybody. I mean, I think Texas State was the second most transfer portal heavy team in college football outside of Colorado
mhm.
last week. So we'll see if things settle down for Baylor. What else do we have? I want to see Michigan. I want to see if JJ McCarthy had over a 96 QBR last week. I want to see if you can back that up this week. Ole Miss Tulane. That's going to be one hell of a game. I'm nervous to bet it. I don't know what side to take. I think I'm probably just going to watch it. Iowa State's going to be a bloodbath.
All right, give me that real quick. Iowa State. You think that's a bloodbath? What do you think the
No,
score?
I think it's a low scoring blood. Like I think they're going to kill each other on the field.
Thank
'Cause,
God. Thank God you
yeah,
said that because here's what I was going to propose, right?
under.
Every week I give out like a money line pick. This week, just because it's that game, instead of my money line pick, I just want to give out the under on that.
Okay.
Can I
Cool. Yeah, you
can I
can do
call the
that.
audible?
Yeah.
The under 36.5 when I see a line like that and I know it's Iowa State involved, in state rivalry, dude, I just want to see the under. I feel like that's just gonna be smash mouth football. So let's roll with the under as kind of like my fake money line, like my flyer for the week.
Yeah. Man, I like it. I like it. By the way, you got 40 seconds to make a pick right now.
Oh, don't worry, watch this right
Okay.
here. You ready? Boom. Give me that.
Tyler Higby, nice.
See that?
Or wait, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler Higby. Okay. I'll take Jamal Williams right here. But
See, look at that. We're drafting, man.
drafting, recording. We got a lot going on because I'll give you an NFL Survivor pick at the end of the pod too.
What about? Did you already say Wisconsin, Washington State?
No, I mean I think Wisconsin wins that game.
Mhm.
But I'd like to see Wisconsin improve on defense. That's for sure. Um,
Someone
what
took Baker Mayfield. Come on, man.
I don't know what these guys are doing.
It's gonna be a cakewalk.
What else? Washington, I want to see bounce. I mean, I want to see them put two really nice back-to-back performances up.
Hmm.
And then one game I'm really excited to see is this SMU Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma looked awesome last weekend, and you know who looked even awesomer than their starting quarterback?
Oh,
Their backup quarterback. Oklahoma's backup quarterback last week went 11 for 11 and put up a better stat line than Dylan Gabriel. The second, and I've been hearing this on other podcasts, the second that Dylan Gabriel is down in the third quarter of a game this year, even though he's going crazy in the stat lines, he will be benched, which is not fair, but that's Division One football.
yeah. I'm sure it really is. It's cutthroat.
Oh, and one other game I'm excited to see Cincinnati Pitt. I think we'll see where both of those teams truly are at after this week. And then obviously you have your Texas Alabama with College Game Day, Oregon Texas Tech. That might be a Texas Tech bet for me. Um, they weren't really matched up well personnel wise versus Wyoming last week, and they had a really disappointing loss in overtime. I think double overtime. But I think they can come out and be underestimated this week and possibly cover there. UCF Boise State. Man, although they're not big name games, there are a bunch of really good, evenly power rated games this weekend. So I'd be on the lookout for all these.
Honestly, I look at that Miami Massachusetts game too.
And then even Oklahoma State, Arizona State. I'm excited for that. I like watching Arizona State because they have the true freshman quarterback Jalen Rashada, who is one of the number. He was the guy whose NIL deal blew up in Florida. He is
Hmm.
starting job for Arizona State, so I'm going to be glued to the couch this weekend watching these games.
Honestly, if you want to look at something for a sneaky little money line, I'd look at UMass over Miami of Ohio. They're 7 point underdogs right now, and
I
I
could get
like
behind that,
UMass.
especially. Well, here's the thing. I was actually looking towards that this week, but you look at what these small schools who they got beat up by last week.
Mm.
Obviously, we know that Miami, Ohio got beat up by Miami, Florida, but UMass also played Auburn last week and never stood a chance.
Okay,
So
but
I'm worried about how are those guys feeling? Are they even healthy for this game?
yeah, you can look at it that way. But what I look at now is both of those games are on the road for these teams. Now you have one team coming home, one team still has to go on the road, and the team that has to go on the road thinks that they're better than UMass. I mean, I think it.
Yeah, I
I
would maybe
think it
look
flows
UMass
towards
here.
UMass here.
Yeah,
Both teams allow points, but UMass has looked better on offense. Their rushing has been better. They were able to put up 14 points against Auburn. Miami was only able to put up three against the U. Yeah, so that could be. There you go. I gave out a money line pick and my fun under of the year pick.
Thunder.
Funder. Ooh,
I like that to be
funder.
honest. Everybody hates on overs. Let's get a little under stigma going and start calling
Yeah,
it the Thunder.
yeah. Let's watch some smash mouth football here. All right. Go ahead and hit me with your recap. I'll hit my recap. You'll give them the socials. We'll get out of here. So what do you
All right,
got?
perfect. I've got UCLA minus 14 versus a 2-0 San Diego State team. I have let me check here. I've got Arkansas minus 38, and you can write me down for Auburn versus Cal over 53.5. Also NFL Survivor pick Baltimore Ravens
Who are they playing?
Texans.
Yeah.
I mean, Stroud isn't going to come out and win his first
No,
NFL game, so
listen, Stroud's gonna have a rough year this year.
let's trust in Lamar
Yeah. Okay, I like it.
and let's trust in Zay Flowers, rookie wide receiver, who I think will be Baltimore's number one by the end of the year.
Oh yeah. Zay Flowers, you say?
Look at,
Okay. All right. Let me just check something
I
real
already
quick.
got him on that.
Damn it! You already got him.
I already
Look at
drafted him. Trust me.
shit. Son of a bitch. All right. My card, Colorado minus 3. That's about as big of a lock as I can think. Virginia Tech minus 3 as well. Again, shop for these. Both of those games, I'd go at least a touchdown. Miami plus 4.5. I'm staying away from the money line on that, but giving me the points. And then for a money line pick, I got UMass money line against Miami of Ohio. And then for a funder pick, Iowa State under 36.5. All right. Well, Do you have anything? Why don't you hit them with the socials real quick? Then we'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah, follow me at Fuji Bets on Twitter. I'd love to have everybody tweeting at me and engaging with me. Follow Dan at dposk DPOSK 13 at on Twitter, or I guess it's X now. And then follow the pod at CFP_pod.
Yep, and you can find us wherever you get podcasts. That's Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, literally everywhere you can get a podcast. We are there. Like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. Let us know what you think. Let us know what picks you are into because we are always looking to make bets and we want to hear from people on what their best bet of the week is. Maybe we'll give you a shout out if you turn some heads. Hit a nice money line, hit a little parlay.
I will.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know what you're thinking out there. And yeah, it's always fun. That's it for me. You got anything else you want to add?
No, man, I'm excited that college football's back, and I'm even if I'm not betting, I'm still glued to the TV watching these games.
Yep, college football's back. Tomorrow is going to be Thursday night football for the NFL. So it's the best time of the year.
Yes.
But all right, well, that's it. I'm Dan. That's Fuji. We will see you next week.